Horror Fam, to HHN 365, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. My name is Mike. I'm here with my co-hosts Duff and Jonathan. Jess is going to be out of town just for the next couple of weeks. She's on a long vacation. On today's show, we'll discuss our wish list for HHN 32.
I didn't even get to say what's up. God damn.
Sorry.
Oh.
As always, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at HHN365 and on TikTok at HHN365pod. We have an amazing Discord channel where there's a lot of activity. You can join us. The link is in the description. And we have a merch shop with a lot of awesome merch. Go ahead and check it out at HHN365.com. And always leave us a voicemail at 407-906-4134. But before we get into our wish list, we have a lot of news and rumors, don't we, Jonathan?
Oh, yes, we do. We have a lot of stuff, actually. But one little reminder for you guys. We said in the last episode, we're going to keep saying it until the date comes up. Our next HHN 36 Live is going to be Wednesday, June 28th at 5 p.m. So that's when we're going to have that live. And I'm sure, hopefully by that time we will have a lot more to talk about. I'd hope at least by then we have at least one or two announcements. Let's cross our fingers, right?
So.
But now let's just move on to news and rumors because, oh my goodness, we have not just rumors and speculation, we have news, sweet news. We got a lot of stuff, and most of it is for HHN Hollywood, but it's really interesting stuff. And the first thing is that an audition for dancers has been released for the HHN Hollywood event, and there's a good chunk of stuff on it that I'm gonna read now, and we'll have a lot of discussion because it has a lot of information that's really interesting. So the audition says that Universal Studios Hollywood is currently seeking dancers 5'3" and under to portray a female character for Halloween Horror Nights 2023. The dancer having tumbling skills would be a plus. Please come dressed to move. Be prepared to dance in sneakers, no heels. So, just talking about this first part of the audition here, a lot of people, when we posted this on Twitter, posted the audition on Twitter, almost every single comment was, hey, Megan. Regarding this wording here. What do we think? Do we think it's Megan? Do we think it's something else?
It feels like deja vu. We've had this exact discussion
after
very
similar to ours.
casting for Orlando. So, it's hard to imagine it as anything else, to be honest. It obviously can be, but it just
Chuckies,
it makes so much sense.
Chuckies.
But it does say female character.
Oh, that's true.
And I know Chucky is cool with gender fluid, but I don't. He himself, I think, is a he him. You
can have tumbling Tiffany's. I don't know.
I guess.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
Sure, but only Tiffany's tumble.
It rolls off the tongue,
Yeah.
Now introducing tumbling Tiffany's.
Yeah, it's been on both coasts. I think this one even says a bit more specifically that makes you think Megan. It sounds kind of likely, doesn't it?
It does. And what's interesting is that I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure both auditions were looking for dancers specifically, right?
Yes.
So if both coasts are having sort of almost the same audition, audition notice, does that mean both coasts are going to get a Megan dancing show? Because I would assume dancers would just be for shows and not walking around dancers or anything like that.
Hey, they could have them tumble in the streets. You never know.
Well, what if we get a scare zone, but then we get stage type shows in the scare zone, kind of like Vanity Ball type? Do we get little tumbling shows throughout the zone?
That sounds possible.
I mean,
And then
I just would be shocked if we're getting Megan, we only get a Megan show. That would be very, to me, quite shocking.
I'm
But there's no rumors of a Megan house that has really fallen off. I know early on there was, but that rumor has really died off. So, is it a Megan zone? It's possible.
uh, I don't remember, Jonathan. Maybe you do, but for sure, the Orlando had like two separate casting calls. One said specifically for a stage show or a show. The other did not. Do you remember if the Megan one was under the stage show or the not stage show one?
I think it was a stage show only for the reason that I remember us having like full on talks, especially you, Mike, when you talked about like the Chucky show or whatever. Like, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was referring to show. I could be wrong though.
Because I mean that would tell us a lot potentially whether one the Coast could do two completely different things, or two we're both getting a stage show. But if it's not the one that says show specifically, then who the fuck knows? Scare Zone, very possible.
So would we get a show? But it would be, if Megan is coming, it's going to be a big part of the marketing. Are we going? Is it
You
going
would
to be
think so.
marketed just as a Megan show? We have to get a zone, right?
I mean,
Like,
there
or a house or some, like, but the houses, the rumors really died off.
there has been rumors floating around regarding a Blumhouse Scare Zone, which you'd imagine would include Megan. So
Oh no,
maybe
that
that.
I could see. That I could see if it's a Blumhouse scare zone and Megan is the kind of the big thing, and then we also get just a Megan show. That would be. I think that would be really cool. We get
Okay,
we get Megan in the event, but without a house featured quite prevalently.
so I just checked the audition for Orlando, and it seems like the audition for dancers and vocalists was for the stage show, but the specific audition for dancers that were 5'2" and under
Hmm.
didn't specify show.
There we go.
So
There we go. That's right. Because
yeah,
we talked about the big difference being the stage show had like vocalist, which has not occurred the past couple of years. So,
Yeah,
um, I mean, maybe that scares on Mike. Although
I
I
think
will say, and
that
I
would
know
be
it can be
great.
tougher to cast when you limit heights more. 5'3" and 5'2", a bit tall for Megan potentially. Like it's gonna be just a
You
little too
can't.
tall and take you a bit because 5'3" is, you're not tall, but you're not like you don't
It's
you
a
don't look
suspension
like
of
a
disbelief
child
thing,
at
right?
5'3". Yeah, I guess like on a stage that's one thing, but when you're walking next to them,
is that
like
a? Do you
like
remember?
Jonathan, you're what, like 5'7" ish maybe.
Yeah, just
So
about.
like that's definitely not going to feel like Megan and Jonathan.
Do you remember this? Like how obviously we only saw them for videos, but I remember like during the promo for Megan, there was a ton of dancers dressed up as Megan, doing dances around California and such. Do you remember like how tall they were?
No, I have no idea. I don't think I ever saw a casting for it, but I don't know that I ever really saw footage that had them next to people, like directly next to people, so it was
Mm,
tough to tell.
yeah. I wonder because these have to be related. I mean, the fact that both coasts have something
Hmm.
so incredibly similar, uh, I mean, it obviously could not be. It could just be a very funny coincidence. But at that point, if they are related, then it has to be an IP. And if both
Hmm.
coasts are having it, especially if Hollywood's having it, and at that point, I mean, Megan just is the most logical conclusion to come from that.
Yeah, it does make us a lot of sense, and I'd be pretty excited to see it in whatever form we get. To be honest.
Man, what a
Absolutely.
stacked year this is rumored to be turning up. It's gonna be like IP palooza, like if you think of
Well,
like of these heavily rumored ones,
yeah,
if
and
we're getting Megan in the streets, or in a show, and then we're getting all the other ones that were rumored to be coming. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, and which is funny because for houses, I mean, it looks like at least a 5-5 split, and depending what goes on with one IP, maybe even leaning originals. Yet the IPs are such heavy hitters, like it almost just feels like a big IP year.
Oh, it feels. I mean,
Obviously, that could change once the event comes, and depends what the
yeah,
theme
this is all
is, and what
speculation.
the originals are. Um,
Yeah.
but just looking at it from the rumors and the outside, it looks like the IPs are such heavy hitters that like it's it's tough not to stare at them, even as someone who's very original focused.
Do we have any other rumored IP scare zones? I know there was The Last of Us.
Yep.
Is one that was
Hmm.
rumored that logistically doesn't sound like it would happen. But anything
Yeah.
else IP
Um,
scare zone wise out there
no, and I
other than
mean
this
It,
Blumhouse?
to be completely honest, the Last of Us one is the only one that's like been big time rumored. Like really gone around. Even the Blumhouse one's a little bit more of a it's getting around, but it's not like a big thing. So
I would
mhm.
say this casting call lends itself
yeah.
to makes that rumor a little bit more prominent, just because I don't see a Megan show without a Megan zone. And if they're calling, and this is the second time there's been smoke around Megan show, I think we're also going to get a Megan featured somewhere else.
Hmm. Yeah, it seems very likely. I mean, we have two castings that describe Megan perfectly, and if you're gonna strike while it's hot, it's this event this year. So
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely. And should we now get into what's also very interesting about this audition?
please do.
Uh, yeah, let's do it. Is that not only do we have all this information that you know probably points to Megan, but also this audition has dates. It says interested candidates must provide availability for all rehearsal dates during the month of August and all Halloween Horror Nights performance dates, and then it gives all of these dates. We got September 5th is the first one, and then it goes September 7th to the 10th. And then basically that just keeps going select dates all the way to October 31st. What's interesting about this is that these dates also include Wednesdays, and the last stretch of 10/25, October 25th to Halloween is a 7-day stretch, which is absolutely insane.
Hmm.
I also do want to note real quick because a lot of people have asked this, and it's still it is a little confusing looking at it. And even when I first looked at it, I'm like, that's kind of weird. I would assume that September 5th is some sort
Probably a
of
preview
preview
night.
day, some team
Yeah,
member preview day,
I mean
because that
it's
day is I'm
it's a
pretty sure it's a
Tuesday, and there's a
mm-hmm,
2 day gap between the next event. It's definitely a preview, whether that's
exactly.
team members
So
or they're doing something else. I, I'd assume team members is probably what it is, but it's a preview of
mhm.
some sort for sure.
yeah.
So it's likely that September 7th, obviously, this is all on an audition and things can change. So
Mhm.
don't take any of this as like official confirmation, but it's pretty likely. But yeah,
And
September 7th is
it
likely
lines
the
up.
opening day for
It perfectly
Hollywood.
lines up with what we expect, anyways. Orlando starts the first. Them starting on the 7th would make a ton of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. So
fully
that's what
expected.
an interesting, casting call. I
40 nights. Like, out of, when you count all
That's
these out.
Orlando level.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And I think one thing that we glazed over is if it's a Hollywood casting call for a show, does that mean it's no Jabberwockies? Are they getting a second show? Is it, or because normally their shows over there is just Jabberwockies, right?
Ooh, talk dirty to me, Mike. Get rid of Jabberwockies. I mean,
Is this
yeah,
the
I
replacement?
especially they just got rid of the theater. I don't think they're gonna have two shows suddenly.
I don't think they have
So
room for two shows.
No, definitely not.
yeah. So
I mean,
maybe this when's the last time they've done a themed show like this that wasn't just like the Jabberwockies?
like a full stage show. That's a
Yeah,
great
probably Bill and
question.
Ted, right?
That's not from. Yeah, I mean, Bill and Ted is definitely it. I don't think they've had anything secondary since that's gone away.
Yeah, because I think
And it's been
After Bill
Jabberwocky
and
since.
Ted, Jabberwocky's just kind of became the resident show.
Yeah, exactly.
This
Wow,
is
this is huge rumors, like huge, like yeah, that's a big deal. It's
n-
interesting to see what turns out of this.
now I do have a question for you guys. With all these Hollywood dates, I mean, 40 nights, 7 day stretch at the end. Um, I don't know history of Hollywood. I don't know if they've ever had this many before, like in the past. But do you think Hollywood can handle this? Because this is a lot.
Um, I mean, I'm sure they can handle it because again, it's just going to come down to capacity more than anything. And they couldn't handle necessarily 10 houses when they tried that. Uh, 9 houses in Walking Dead. But I think the additional nights won't really be an issue and might even stretch out their crowds a bit, which would be very helpful. That
Mm-hmm.
7 day stretch, though, for scare actors, mm, that's questionable. That's
I
very
don't think.
questionable.
I think that's a gamble, and I don't think it's going to pay off for him. I think uh, there's going to be so many call outs, like, because, I mean, who wants to work that long, you know? Like,
Yeah, that's a lot, and it's a demanding role,
mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's don't love that. So unless they're gonna, there's always the chance they literally just hire an extra cast for that week, or I guess you probably need an extra 2 casts to make that work. But if they just do it for the last week, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Uh, it's interesting. I definitely am happy that when we're going to do our trip, it's not going to be during that week, because I have a strong feeling that, especially in the beginning of the week, there's going to be a lot of holes.
Hmm.
Understandably so, because that's too many nights in a row.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think
definitely.
Orlando doesn't have a 7 day stretch.
No, no.
So yeah, I don't know.
All right. Well, we also have HHN construction that has gone up in Hollywood, right, Jonathan?
Oh yes, we do. I want to also thank our friend Kevin, because once again Kevin got the scoop. I think, like,
The
Kevin was
scoop.
like one of the first,
What
maybe
kind?
the
Mint
first
chocolate
person to
chip,
like report on this.
toffee nut,
Hmm?
pistachio. I said,
This,
what kind of scoop?
oh, the scoop, yes.
Scoops Ahoy, of
Scoops
course.
ahoy.
Oh yes, of course. Sorry.
Yeah, Steve. Anyways, so the Curious George Tent 2, I don't know why it says 1 here. The Curious George Tent 2 facade, I think it's 2. I might be wrong. I think it's 2. Facade has more detail, and the detail, we've moved beyond the point of like just looking at some walls and being like, maybe this, maybe this is that, and now looking at what the detail now, it's kind of easy to probably see what it is, and that is on top of the entrance of the facade. There are a ton of shapes, just stacked, like next to each other, on top of each other. That looked, I mean, the shape is exactly the shape of a Good Guy doll box. So I'm gonna say it's 99% likely that that house, that location is Chucky.
Mm,
Like
yeah,
the
I mean,
boxes, if you put them side by side, you put the shape side by side of a good guy doll box, it's exactly the same. It's like almost the same exact shape. Like
Yeah,
it could be crazy, and it could not meet, could be something completely different. But the way it already looks like a factory to begin with, and now you also have the boxes that would be made in the factory on top of it. I think, like, this is
it
obviously just
seems
a
pretty
guess. It's not
clear
confirmed, but I think it's Chucky.
because I mean, just last week we discussed how the factory on its own, mainly you, how that seems like the most likely option, right? That's what came to the top of your head.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and now it has literal good guy tall boxes. It's the shape. It's only the shape. It doesn't say it or anything, but I mean, it is the exact shape. So yeah, I think it's pretty safe that this is Chucky.
And I gotta say, what a great idea to start off your house. I know we talked about it a little bit this last time, but like to really start it off right in the factory, I think that's a great setting to start with. Seeing the dolls get made, seeing things go wrong, seeing lots of people. I really think like lots of people are like deadly afraid of like dolls like that, and to just throw them into a factory that's gonna, I'm just sure, have a shit ton of them, like John Murdy has said, like you got like a whole shipment of these dolls. Just to throw them into an area that's just gonna be filled with them, like most likely is going to, I think, freak out a good amount of people.
Uh, yeah, I do wonder how it's gonna look, like with actual dolls. I I'm a little skeptical of how much I'll like the facade, to be honest. The way the dolls are just kind of laying across it, but we'll see. We'll see.
I think my friend Kevin made a little joke, and I think it would actually be funny if the dolls uh, on top of the facade were like talking to each other, like they were just bickering with one another, like
I could
like they're
definitely
all
see that
just
being the
alive
case.
and they're all just in the boxes, just
That would
saying
be
shit at the
great.
They just
guests.
have audio of them like talking shit. Yeah, I
Yeah,
could see
that'd be
that.
great. They like
Oh, and
heckle you.
if you have, maybe they're, I don't know if they do it, but like have their eyes like glow red in the dark or something, like, and
Mm,
just have them sort of like staring at you like that. Ooh, that could work.
that would be cool.
Yeah, that would
Okay,
honestly be really
I
great.
there's certain things that could get me down for it. Not gonna lie. As far as construction goes in Hollywood, that's pretty much the only update we have to talk about this week, right?
Yeah, that's about it. There's some other little things, but they're not big enough to discuss at the moment.
All right. Well, you know what that means. It's our favorite time of the week.
Yes, our John Murdy segment. John Murdy
Murdy
got a whole
time.
he got a whole podcast last week practically. So
You need a
today
theme song for Murdy Talk.
you got to do now, Duff. You got to do that theme song every time we talk about John Murdy from now on.
What theme song? What Murdy time?
Murdy time.
All I did was
I think that's
say
more
it.
like
It's not
it's a
song.
drop.
Yeah. We'll write a jingle. We'll get there.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
okay.
get it. We'll work on it.
Exactly, and he probably won't like it. Anyways, here is our John Murdy section. There's only a couple things we're going to talk about. But yeah, the first thing is that someone asked, "Hey, are there any roles this year with performers outside the facade?" If you guys don't know, Hollywood sometimes has done that with their past houses. They've had, for example, Louis Tully in front of Ghostbusters. They had the Hitchhiker in front of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They've had a lot of other examples. Killer Clowns from last
I
year.
was gonna say, out of all the ones you didn't say, Killer Clowns.
I said it. I ended up saying it. I did say
You
it.
did. You did.
I know. I almost betrayed myself. So those are little fun interactions they have in front of the facade. He says in response to that question, yes, and more than usual.
Which could really just mean like two, if you just kind of
True.
average out.
It could just mean two.
I would assume it probably. If I had to guess, I feel like he's saying like maybe three total.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna go fucking crazy and like 6 houses are gonna have shit out front.
Hey, that would be like, that'd be great.
Or does he count like each Chucky puppet?
That could be him being a little cheeky. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. It'd be more than usual, and it's just all the different Chuckies.
It's just Chucky's. That's a very John Murdy thing he could do. I'm not Mike.
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah, I guess he didn't say live performers. Did they? Didn't know. No one specified that. So it could literally just be the dolls with audio.
Yeah, it could be. Or yeah.
All right, solved. That's what it is. Thanks, John Murdy. We figured it out.
We're so clever. We're so smart. And this next one, which is just a funny one, is someone asked, "Hey, is the Chucky house based off the first, second, or upcoming third season?" John Murdy replied, "It's based on Chucky killing you."
So probably
Classic.
means absolutely nothing. Really.
Classic.
No, it just,
But if you want to make it make sense in a roundabout way, could be saying that it's not really focused on the seasons and rather just embodying what Chucky is those seasons.
You're thinking way into it.
Yeah, I know I am.
For
It means
John
nothing.
Marty.
It means
It
nothing.
means nothing. It's just John Marty being cheeky.
I love that response. It's based on Chucky killing you. So
Well, that was a much
that's
tamer
the end of
John Murdy section than last week.
yeah, a lot shorter. I think he got really mad when everyone was well, not mad, but just like confused when everyone was speculating on the songs because he's just like, guys, it's a random playlist. Like last time he had like a bunch of songs. This is all random. None of this means anything. And everyone was like, could this mean this? Mean this? And he's like, please stop. None of this.
He did that to himself.
He really did. He knew what was gonna
I
happen.
mean, yeah, but he did basically preface it with, "Hey, this literally means nothing. Like seriously, it means nothing. I'm just having fun."
He knows how Twitter works. When you say it means nothing,
The second he saw Kate Bush was the first, he should be like, "I'm not doing this. Never mind.
Yeah,
This isn't happening."
even I was like, I know this is all fake, but this is too funny not to tweet about for a minute. Because once again, that the likelihood of that is just insane. But moving on to our next segment is the legacy segment. Legacy is a known insider, and who talks about things upcoming this year and whatnot. And let's just discuss. There's only one. Actually, there's two things that he's talked about. One is that I don't remember if we talked about last time, but I'll just reiterate it because it is going to be like Tuesday or Wednesday when we release this. He believes an announcement will happen on the 15th. He's said that a lot now. He seems really confident in it. So for announcement day, maybe, and obviously stuff like that gets pushed all the time, but maybe we'll get an announcement on the 15th finally.
Yeah.
Of August.
Of this month.
Which yes, this episode will come out on Wednesday, so the day after this episode drops. So you would hear us talk about that on next week's episode if it happens.
That'd
be great.
Watch it get pushed back to they release this episode. We're just like, damn it.
That would be our luck, to be fair.
It really would. Speaking of God damn it. Speaking of wood, we have
Oh.
I did that. I saw what was happening, but I just continued. There has been a lot of talk in the community lately. It kind of just popped out of nowhere about a potential rumor about a vamp zone coming back this year. A sort of a continuation of Vamp 55 and Vamp 85. It'd be vamps in another year. And there has been sort of a lot of conflicting info and ideas and, about what year it might be. Some people are saying 75. Some people were going to 80s. Some people got it right and got it in the well, not right, but got it into where Legacy is speculating here. Obviously,
Mike got it right like 4 years ago on the podcast.
That's who I'm referring to, obviously.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
You guys guessed it before. Guess what Legacy was guessing before everybody, and that is that Legacy replied, or not replied. He tweeted, "I would," spelled like you're carving wood. Like to buy stock in that rumor, which, I mean, if you it's easier when you read it, but he's obviously referring to Woodstock. And that being the location, the time frame that this vamp zone is rumored to be in.
I mean, that would be a very cool event to base that off of.
Yeah,
I think it makes total sense. Like, I think that's I think that's a good year to base it off at a good event. I think you can make some great sets and great character interactions. I think it works. I think that's a good place to put the vamp in.
I'm not gonna lie though,
but the vamp.
My mind would kind of hate dropping the whole 5 shtick. 55, 85. Does it really matter? No. Would I kind of hate it on the inside? Absolutely.
No, but remember what it would actually be called if we stick with the year thing, right? But instead of 85, it's Vamp 69.
I think it works.
I
I
mean,
mean,
no,
No,
you're
yeah,
not getting
I,
there's a I think there are some people who would consider that year the funniest year the vampires could
no,
be in.
no, I get what you're saying.
I mean,
I
it fits
understand.
perfectly for Woodstock. It's all about free love, right?
It's true.
This is what Nico was. One of for our newer listeners, Nico. One of our very first episodes, Nico pitched like a 21 and over event or something crazy. But yeah, this would fit perfectly into his porno house or whatever.
Well, also, this would be the perfect episode for Nico to be on because he could have had a field day with this.
um,
So, I mean, right now it's still a very early rumor, but Legacy talking about it definitely gives it some more backing than just stuff being speculated generally in the community. So yeah, I would be excited to see this. I think have like I maybe I don't know. I guess it was funny because we were all just complaining about we don't want to see Dracula. We don't want to see vampires again. Like we just had Dracula. We don't want to see Dracula's brides. But then they go, "Oh, vamps rumored." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's fun, sure."
I mean, think of that soundtrack though. That soundtrack is going to be
Oh,
slapping.
oof. The characters that they're gonna put in the zone, like the parodies of famous
Oh,
people. So
I
many
can't wait.
options.
Like all the famous like vampire versions of
Yeah,
like Jimi Hendrix and stuff.
exactly. Yes.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
So I am very into this and hope it does happen.
And our last piece of news here is not for HHN at all, but it's for Hollowscream, and that Hollowscream Orlando in particular, and that by popular demand, Monster Stomp will be back for this year's Hollowscream.
I mean,
Oh,
it's the
by
best.
popular demand.
Hey, yes, by popular demand. It is the best hunt show I've seen in the past 2 years.
Oh,
Hunt
I
stage
mean, it's fun.
show.
Yeah,
Hunt
I
stage show
actually,
I've seen in the past 2 years.
I wish I could talk about it a lot, but to be honest, I I only went to Hollowscream Orlando the first year. I didn't go the second, and uh, I went in to the show, and we sat down. My friend and I sat down, and the show started, and I forgot to bring earplugs, and it was very loud, so I left, and I never got to see it again. So
yeah, I remember that, Jonathan, because we ran into you a couple of like maybe a couple of minutes after you saw it, and I said, "What do you think of Monster Stop?" And you said it was just too loud for you. Do you remember this interaction?
I think I do. I think I do remember that exact
Yeah.
interaction, actually.
Yeah, you
Uh,
said you were in there for a few minutes and you walked out because it was too loud.
Yeah, I should have brought earplugs. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I bring them for HHN all the time. I did not even think about bringing them for Hollowscream, and that was a very dumb decision on my part.
Well, this year you are watching Monster Stop. I don't care
Oh
if you forget
yes.
your earplugs. You are going to damage your ears to watch it.
Yeah.
I will make it
And that
happen.
year they had the masks, the plastic masks like that were just like made out of like you could see them singing. It was a very very interesting choice to do like it was like a plastic mask like mouth covering.
Mm.
So you could see, and it seemed really miserable for the actors. Do you know the ones I'm talking about, Duff? Do you
Yes,
remember?
I saw. Yes, I didn't
Even that though,
see,
even
but I
in
saw
that
pictures.
like even in that environment, like that environment that it was still in in a pandemic. Everyone ended up like even that year, everyone's like that's probably the best Halloween show I've ever seen. So
Whoa,
uh
whoa, ever? Okay, listen, I like it. Ever's a little much.
no, I'm not saying for me. I only watched a
No, I
minute
know
of it.
you're
I'm
not.
saying for a lot of people.
Well, you would have loved it, Jonathan.
I get my nightmare fuel has been like um worn out. But this, you guys thought Monster Stomp was better than the original Nightmare Fuel?
Uh, yeah, I enjoyed it more. Yes.
Oh, well, I don't agree with that, but interest, yeah. I mean, I did enjoy Monster Stop, but to be fair, I only saw Nightmare Fuel 2.0, and I only saw it once. So,
Hmm.
but so I only saw Monster Stomp once too. So,
I have no opinions. I'm excited to actually see it this year and get what all the the hype is about.
All right. Well, that looks like it's it for news and rumors, right, Jonathan?
Yeah, that's all we have for this week for news and rumors.
Perfect. Hopefully, something much bigger on the news side next week. But for
Oh yeah.
now, let's get into our main segment for this week, which will be our wish list for HHN 32. And I should point out, very much earlier in this off season, we did a full wish list episode. So this is kind of going to be more like an update on our wish lists based
yeah,
off kind of current speculation and rumors and what's going on, rather than whipping out the whole lists.
yeah, I would say this one's a little bit of combination of just kind of like things that we want to bring back from last year, things that we really hope the rumors to be true, um, things that have been gone for a while we want to come back. We've kind of allowing this to be kind of really kind of whatever we want. It's a bit of an open forum for us just to kind of come together and just kind of chat about the things that we're really looking forward to, or you know, we're excited for HHN 32, and we want to talk about the things we're excited about seeing.
Yeah, yeah, that sums it up pretty well. So who wants to kick us off?
Jonathan, do you got a couple of good ones?
I have a good one I can start off with, in terms of like what I hope to see for this year, and something I really hope to see, in HHN 32. I guess compared to HHN 31, and HHN 30, the past couple of years, is that I really want it, and this is all subjective. This is my personal wish list. I really hope this year can scare me a lot more than the past two. I think that once 30 happened, we all and like it became very like everyone was kind of stressed. It was a weird environment. And then even in 31, it felt like the scares were still a lot of the scares, aside for a couple houses, were farther away from the guests than they usually are, or at least it felt like the houses were sort of designed that way. Not everything, but a lot of areas felt a little more distance than I remember from my first couple of years of going in 28 and 29. So I hope that this year really does bring the scares back for me. I've gotten scared at the past other two events, but I really want most houses to give me like a jolt because I really crave that. And it's very easy for Agent in Hollywood to get scares out of me in every single house. Um, so I am easily scared. I just hope that this year really ramps up the scares a bit, like how I remember it, how I remember it was.
Okay, yeah, I like that. It's a good one. It makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense for you from when you started and then the years you kind of had to go through. So, uh, good luck. I hope that happens for you.
Yes.
Alrighty, how about I go next? Um, I wish that at HHN 32, I will get to enjoy a delicious Reuben fry, um,
Yeah.
followed
Mm.
by washed down with a lacto cooler. I'm gonna put those
Okay.
together.
So you just want to
Um,
relive last year.
yeah, basically, I want to relive my two favorite food and drink items of last year. I really hope that those return. I can now, if Lacto Cooler doesn't end up there, I can find Lacto Cooler around town, so wouldn't be the end of the world. But the Reuben fry, if that is not here this year, I will be so gutted.
I will
I
fight.
I really want the return of the Reuben fry. It's hopefully it wasn't themed around like sweets or something. It wasn't something that like would not make sense if it was at 32 because it was themed around, Texas Chainsaw Massacre or so. That wasn't at 31, but you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like a themed item for only that year. So I really hope it does come back.
I am fully on board for that one, Mike.
I
Go
do
ahead.
we all agree that like everyone here, that Reuben fries are better than pizza fries?
Absolutely.
The three of us, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I've
Definitely.
never been a big pizza fry guy, but Reuben fries are absolutely delicious.
I
Oh
do
yeah.
enjoy a pizza fry, but I don't know if I'm gonna bother getting them if Reuben fries exist every year. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I usually every event, I usually like I don't eat much the first day because I'm like before I had Express, I was running and running to get all the houses done. For opening night, I want to get all 10 houses done and all the shows and whatever. But the only food we would eat is pizza fries. That'd be like the one item you have to have like a snack during the day, is like fuel to then get up and do more stuff. Um, while I'm gonna have Express this year, so that's gonna be a little bit different. The first food item I'm probably gonna want to have this year is, if it's here, is a Reuben fry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had such like a weird emotional connection with me in 31. Like I used to bring Reuben fries like to every showing of Ghoulish. Like that's how it was. You got Reuben
Yes.
fries, then you saw Ghoulish, and then that didn't happen anymore. But whatever. And like even the last night, the last food item I had was a Reuben fry with my friend, and as we walked up, they were all out of Reuben fries. Like the guy in front of us, like, oh, sorry, we're all out, and we're like, oh no. But then I think it was the manager of the location, I'm not sure, definitely a leader of some sorts, saw us, came to us, just gave us a Reuben fry because they knew what we were coming for, because we've been there like tons and tons of time to get Reuben fries, and also put the extra Thousand Island on it, like without us even having to ask. And it was the best batch of Reuben fries I ever had.
Well,
So
you were gifted a random
Wow.
Reuben
I wasn't
fry on
gifted,
closing
but we
night.
were
Oh, okay.
I guess you could say gifted in the way of, we weren't supposed to have it. We did. We
Okay.
just also paid for it. But
Okay.
I love
I
that
but it's
was
you
almost
gonna
like
be
she
became
like,
saved them for us. Like, oh my god.
you became a regular
It was
at
great.
Louis. They
what?
they knew you.
It's a Halloween miracle. Like,
I had a problem, okay?
No, it's a good problem. It's a good problem.
It is.
All right, so mine that I will kick us off with, or kick myself off with, is kind of doing what they did last year in the tribute store, from the summer tribute store to the Horror Nights tribute store, where not only did they kind of hint at Horror Nights in general and hint at what's coming, but fully built lore around what exactly would be in that location and Scare Zone.
Yes.
I want it to happen again. And you already see there's a little spot in the tribute store at the end where it has opening night of HHN listed. And hopefully it's going to be the same thing, where as the season goes on, it just builds more and more. Little hint, big hit, bigger hint. Here's a whole story kind of thing, you know? So I would like to see that again. Even though I don't want to see the tribute store in that location, but it's going to happen. So whatever.
yeah. Yeah, I've heard horror stories about just how popular this Jurassic Park 30th anniversary
I mean,
ride
it has
is,
nothing
and
to do with
it's
how
just,
popular it is. It has to do with how tiny the space is.
I mean, both the
It could be
combination of
empty
it.
in there. I've seen it empty, and yet still, it's a massive line because it's tiny.
Mm-hmm.
But like you get, into the like middle room, and there's like suddenly no one. It's because people are waiting for photo ops, and everyone thinks it's a line, and they all stand in line because it's a tiny ass space. I hate it.
It's a really bad
I mean,
layout.
I love the
The
tribute
store
store.
itself
I
is
hate the
great.
layout.
Layout awful.
Well, yeah, well, maybe one day we'll go back to its old location.
I hope
Fingers
someone can convince Ride Operations, just be like, hey,
Yeah.
please, just start begging, please.
Right.
You don't understand the HHN
Yeah.
crafts.
We will close the mummy. It's that important. Well,
Oh my god, They did look at Universal like, you wouldn't dare, and Universal like, yeah, you're right, damn
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Didn't
no,
work.
we're not. Okay.
I guess I'm up next.
Yeah. Go for it.
And I kind of want to jump off of what you said, Duff, in terms of like, yeah, sort of adding to the lore in a tribute store. I would like them to do podcasts again. Stories of houses, backstories of the houses before either the event opens or during the event, whatever. But I'd like to do them all to be in the way that Fiesta de Chupacabras did, where I thought that was the best one by far, where it really enhanced the story and not only showing how fierce this creature is and what it can do and how all the people were scared at it, but also why it was doing what it was like, why the people were doing what they were doing. You could still understand in the house, but it gave you a lot of backstory and gave you a lot of connection. So when you finally went in the house, like it just completely clicked 100%, and you felt more into that world than you would have been if you just walked into that soundstage without any prior knowledge. I think those podcasts, that one in particular, was amazing. And if they can make every podcast like that one, Bugs Eating the Live one wasn't bad either, and the Spirits one did have a lot of context too. So stuff like that helps a lot in me appreciating and understanding and really getting immersed into a house. Don't do Dead Man's Pier though. Don't do that one, because that one just confused everyone. So don't do a podcast like that. Do it like the other ones. And hopefully for scare zones too. I love like Sweet Revenge. I love every scare zone to get like some sort of podcast, because out of all the mediums of storytelling, I think scare zones are probably the hardest to tell any sort of story, and unless you have like some really good shows in there. So yeah,
Yeah.
do
Not
more
wrong.
podcasts.
I like it. I did enjoy the podcast a lot, so love to see them back.
All right. I guess that's mine. Okay, this one might be a little controversial. I'm not gonna. I wish to have a park wide loop that I could really fall in love with at HHN 32,
Mm-hmm.
unlike 31. I am not going to say what genre of music that has to be. I think it could be any genre of music, but I really want it. I want to have a park wide loop that is long and has an amazing music that it just makes me excited when I'm walking through the park or walking into the park or out of the park after a long day. I'm ready to have an amazing park wide loop again. I'm really wishing that will return for me personally at HHN 32.
I
Emphasis
don't.
on the long playlist, because I'm someone who
Yes.
enjoyed the music they had, and by the end of the run, I hated almost every song because I just felt like I heard them nonstop because the loop wasn't long enough. It just was. So, point being, even if someone likes the music, you know, if it's not long, it's not going to work anyways. It's like, at the very least, make a long playlist. At the very least.
I liked the choice of the first day or two. And wouldn't know if I didn't necessarily like the music, but by the end of the event, I hated the choice and I hated the music.
Hmm.
I
And
just
I think people really underestimate how powerful a loop like that can be. Because I personally like the loop. I do think it needed a lot more songs, and I did get tired of a at least a good chunk of them. But I did like the loop enough that it really heightened my experience, and it helped my HN31 experience and having a positive attitude. Walking around the park when it's hot out and it's crowded and you can't go in any houses and you're just sort of walking around. That loop was still made me a little happy, and like, oh, I'm an HHN, this is fun. But in 30, I just disliked that loop so much that I felt like when everything was crowded and there was nothing to do, just walking around the park hearing that loop like made me almost like not angry, but just like I don't know, just like a little ticked off. Like it just sort of like hit something in my brain where I'm like, ooh, I don't like that because I just didn't like the music, and that hurt my experience at 30. So I really think park wide loops are very important for every year.
Hmm. Agreed.
Agreed.
And I mean, like, look at specifically like 29. The amount of people I know who just listen to that like daily at this point, and it's 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Like
because it
that,
was amazing.
yeah, that's an amazing loop, and look how important that can be. People will always look fondly on that event, if only for that loop. Some people didn't love the event as much as others did, but that loop drew so many people in.
Yeah,
It,
I
it
know people who didn't even love that genre of music until they went to HHN and then they fell in love with that genre of music.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely.
it yeah. And it's having a loop like that, like especially as iconic as 29. It's so cool when you can listen to the music and go, I remember that year. Like it was so iconic, so tied to it that the music doesn't separate. The music, like you listen to that and you're immediately like, this is automatically connected to HHN forever. It is now no longer
Hmm.
separate. I can only imagine this, hear this song, and imagine Halloween Horror Nights, which is such a cool thing.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I guess I am next, and my next one is going to kind of be the cheapest, easiest little one I'm going to do this entire time, and that is bring back the bar behind Lombard's, because, huh,
Oh yeah.
what a savior that was. One, lines weren't crazy, which is my concern that it rarely had lines, and I don't know if that makes them want to bring it back. But great as a guest. The spot, just with the couches and seating, some of it under cover as well, if the weather wasn't great. Also, the deal where you could use your refillable mug and get a double with that for like $13, cheapest cocktail in the park. Um, Phenomenal deal, great spot. Yeah, I just want it back so bad, so bad. I spent countless hours there throughout the course of the couple months.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I liked that spot so much. I actually had some really great interactions with bartenders. It made it
Mm,
feel like it was like normally when you interact with someone who's at food and beverage, it's HHN, and they're just like wham bam, like
yeah,
like just
they got
hand
a
you a
line
drink
behind
and
you. Got to go.
you get it because there's a giant line. I actually got to have conversations with these bartenders. I got to talk to them.
Yeah,
That never happens at HHN
no,
ever.
you're right. They definitely felt the chattiest of basically like like location wise, on average, the chattiest of any location I've ever experienced.
Because they happen to be kind of tucked back in there, and I think that kind of probably for them was not amazing because you make a lot more money if you're not tucked back in there. If you're a bartender at HHN, getting a buck thrown at you, every third person. Where here you have to be chatty because you're not going to get it as much. But I mean, I got some great interactions. There were some really great
Mm,
cast back there.
yeah, definitely. Jonathan, hopefully you just get to experience it for the first time this year.
I really want to.
I mean,
Hopefully he
you
comes back.
experienced it. You just didn't, get drinks from it.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I did like those that seating behind it. That was
Yeah,
like really good seating.
right.
Like it was hidden for a while until people found out about it. But like when you get like they just had full couches there. Like it was kind of crazy.
It was great. Please,
Yeah.
again, Universal, please, please have mercy on us. Bring it back.
And I guess I'm next here. And what I want to say, I'm gonna say something that I think a lot of us agree with. And that I really want the cohesiveness of events like like recently, like 31, to continue. I really love when an event is cohesive and everything connects. Obviously, especially if we get if we get IP zones, not everything is going to exactly connect and whatnot. But I'd love for uh, us to have, like, what's rumored, and an icon. That icon creates the event, or just manages it. The event revolves around a specific theme that can be easily distinguished, and just the whole part and the music loop and everything revolves around that theme. Everything revolves around that icon, or just feeling of whatever they're trying to do. I love when events are immersive like that. It makes me love them a lot more, especially if we get two shows, hopefully. I know two is rumored at the moment, but one of them's not Lagoon. Maybe that other one that isn't gonna be like I'm likely a Nightmare Fuel type thing, seeing how they've been done it the past couple of years. Maybe one of them relates to the theme, which I thought would be, I think would be great, and the icon or something like that. I just, to some, I just want a cohesive theme. I love that in events.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I want that every year. So, nothing new there on my end.
All right. I only have three, so I don't know if you guys have a bunch more, and if you do, I can
No,
maybe try to come up
I was
with
going
some
to
on the
call it
fly.
here, to be honest. So,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
same.
I
so
was going to do my one
okay,
more, and then yeah.
okay, cool. All right, so mine is I wish to have another amazing themed red coconut club of some sort. Hope
Mm.
to accent and my nights at HHN to pregame or postgame at like we did last year. Please bring back something. It doesn't have to be the Dead Coconut Club. It can be another fun twist on it. Bring back something. It was such a great idea. I think they've all been hits. The Cursed Coconut Club was amazing as well. You got something here, and I hope you realize that. Please bring it back.
I think they finally opened that location just as the Red Coconut Club again.
Yes.
It's been
Have
closed for
they?
a
Mm-hmm.
while. But they like updated the lighting and the DJs in a different place, and they sometimes do fun things depending on the event and what's going on in City Walk. So I would assume they recognize, even in times where there is no events and nothing to theme it, that it it will get people in. It will make money. It will be worth keeping open. So I don't see a world where they don't have um a version of Halloween Horror Nights version of it this year. I don't see a world where they stop doing it for any theme. I think every Mardi Gras, every Christmas, every Halloween, maybe they even extend it even more to other like holidays. I think this is going to be something like probably permanent until they stop making money, which
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they will, because it's just such a smart idea.
Yeah, there were some nights that were definitely a bit slow, but those busy nights could get really, really busy, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they made them plenty of money at the end of the day. So, and also I enjoy it. I think it's a really cool concept to have like just a seasonal like bar club. Um, yeah, bring it back all the time.
Definitely.
All right, I guess my last one. I'm trying to decide which direction I want to go with this. Since I've done two things that were from the past, I will focus more on the choice that is what the actual rumors are for this year. Um, and I think the one I'm going to go with is I really want to see an IP headline duo of Stranger Things Last of Us. And I hope the rumors are very true because I think both of them want massive draws. So good for Universal there. Two, properties I enjoy a lot. And three, properties that would fit so well and lend themselves perfectly to HHN houses. So I want to see those two houses.
I hope so, man.
Yeah,
I hope so.
it's it's the biggest 1-2 punch they've probably ever had in Asian history.
I think it probably would be. Yeah. As far as
Yeah.
just straight popularity goes, yeah.
Wow. If the rumors end up being true, this year is gonna be slams.
Hmm.
Yeah, with Megan sprinkled in, like, oh my gosh, like that is what a combination. And Chucky, you can't
Yep,
forget the Chucky. Yeah.
Chucky's
Oh
big.
my.
like a lot of people underestimate him because I mean we joke about him every year, but there's a reason he's on merch every year, and that it sells, like it makes money. Like Chucky makes money. People recognize that character. Even people who don't necessarily know horror look at that, look at the doll and say, "Hey, that's Chucky. I understand who that is." You know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that is it for our main segment of kind of the updates to our wish lists from where things stand now. But we are not done. We do have a couple voicemails that we are going to take a listen to here first. You guys ready to just kick into those?
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Caller number 1.
Hi guys, I love your show, Mystery Caller, calling from another state. Yeah, I really just wanted to say that your show really makes my morning and evening commute so much better. And then I was wondering if you guys had any plans to do like a kind of a top 10 list. I know you've done stuff like that with other horror podcasts. One where it's like scariest HHN houses, Scarecrow, and I just kind of want to know, love your show. Thanks so much. Bye.
Well, first, thank you, Mystery Caller from our state. Very kind words. We appreciate it. There was a bit of cutting out there, so I didn't fully get what it was, but it sounds like you want us to do another top 10 episode of some sort, as we have done with other shows in the past and just in the past in general. And I think that is a great idea. Probably when Jess gets back, we'll wait. I think that's more fun when all 4 of us would be here. So I think we could probably plan a top 10 episode in the next, within the next month here. I think that's pretty safe to say. We can do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you guys could tell exactly what kind of top 10 was being mentioned or asked for, but I couldn't exactly.
I couldn't
Or if
either.
there was
They were
one.
cutting out
Because there was just a
little
bit of
One
cutting out.
one of them mentioned was like like top 10 scariest houses.
Oh, okay.
One.
Oh, okay.
All right, yeah. And if you want to call back or shoot us an email or DM or something to if there was a specific type of top 10, please do, and we can try to make that happen for sure. So thank you so much. We'll try to get to that. And then our
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
second caller.
Hey guys, my name is Tofu. I'm a relatively new listener. I started listening when Jess joined. And I wanted to really quickly talk about the whole Demon Slayer thing. I do not think that ever was a legit rumor for Halloween Horror Nights. I do think that, considering the carts in between the parks, right at City Walk when you get to the water, usually those will have some sort of like manga or anime
Thank you so much for your voicemail,
properties,
Tofu. And
like
also, Jess has
actual
been around for well
merchandise that
over
you
a year
can
at this
buy.
point, so you're not new. You're a
I
veteran
feel like they
listener
want
now.
to do something
So
with
thank you for the
that,
voicemail there.
and try and highlight
also,
it a little
I
more.
know
Now,
personally,
I
I love
do
when,
think
especially
anime
with the
does
Demon
have
Slayer
a
stuff that has come
spot
out,
in
someone
Halloween
with
Horror
more
Nights.
knowledge of
I
a
just think it
subject,
has to
this
be a little
specific
bit
one,
more
Demon Slayer
scary.
anime in general,
Shout out to the
leave
fact that
us a
John
voicemail
Murdy is
or a
taking the
message
same
or talk
approach
to us on social
to
media,
parenting that
because
my
none of
dad
us really
did.
have a grasp
But I'm thinking properties
of
like
that genre
Hellsing,
in
Hellsing
general.
Ultimate
So
essentially,
it sounds like
Tokyo
we have
Ghoul,
similar thoughts. Yours are just
stuff
much
like
more well
that
thought out
would be
because
more appropriate for Halloween
understanding
Horror Nights.
of the
So,
property.
thanks for hearing me out.
So I mean,
Have
I
fun.
definitely don't
Bye.
disagree with anything you said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely. One of
Yeah,
these days, I'm going to give Demon Slayer a shot. It's on my list. I really think I hear amazing things about it. Anime is not necessarily my cup of tea, but I think, I do like kind of the things that can have transitioned into like pop culture and things like that. I do like that type of anime.
Mhm.
So I think I might enjoy it. I will give it a shot.
Yeah, I do want to check it out. Kind of. I did have a period over a decade ago now, probably, where I kind of tried to test out anime and how I felt about it, and I only found one show that I liked, and that was Death Note. And this doesn't give up that kind of vibe at all. So I don't know if it'd be up my alley, but I do want to try regardless.
I feel like I have to now. With all this talk of Demon Slayer, I think we almost talk about it every week now. Like I feel almost obligated that I need to check out the show. Like it's just it's been talked about so much. It's like
Mhm.
fine, like I'll go watch it.
All right, I guess we have to. If I have
Well,
to.
I don't have to watch The Idol every Sunday this summer.
Oh
so-
God!
I still have to
Oh.
watch the first episode, but I just
Oh,
the,
you know
the
you
You
clip
won't be able to.
the
You
clip
won't be able
that's
to watch
going
5 minutes.
around. Oh my god! I don't know if you've
Oh
seen it,
my
Mike,
gosh.
but there's a clip of the weekend going around where he says he extremely cringy line, and it's close up on his face. Uh,
Is it from the first? Is it from the first episode or
No.
the
I,
second?
I think it's a later episode because it just came out as
Oh.
like a GIF recently, and it's so cringe, as most people would say. It gives them the ick.
Yeah.
It's like something he'd say in his songs, but it's so much different when he's singing it versus when he's just whispering it while you're staring at him. I still want to try. I'm gonna give it a shot, but oh man, oh no.
For those who don't want to watch it, I would say I watched the first episode and it was like if like 50 Shades of Grey was written by men and also who wrote also Entourage. Like it was like really bad. It was not good.
Maybe I'll
Not
go
good
do
at
that
all.
right now. We'll see. Yeah,
It
probably
was
not.
like Entourage meets 50 Shades of Grey, written by only written by men, and all the women were just all about the male gaze. It was really terrible. Just not good.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I only
try it,
watched-
but I don't want to.
I only watched 5 minutes of it because like I started watching it and like my little brother was in the room. He was sort of on the other side. I'm like, whatever, I'll just turn it on. It can't, be that bad. And then
Oh.
they started talking like, oh no, I can't even play this in the same room because
No,
that's so
you
bad.
can't.
He can't listen to this. Like even the dialogue was things like he's like, no, absolutely not. And like one character came up on the screen in the first 5 minutes and said like 2 lines, and I think that's the moment where I said I'm out. Like this is the worst dialogue I've ever heard. Like it's not even so bad it's good. It makes me cringe in the worst way. It's really bad. Someone thought they were writing it and thought they were geniuses and like, oh, this is gonna be we're like, wow, we're really pushing the boundaries of what we can say. Wow, we're so clever. And it's just like, no, you're not.
It's
Like
just
it feels
it's
like
just
a
what you
like
hear
a
in
like
like
a
a cheesy porn video. Really.
literally.
No, and
I
it
think
gets
so-
worse, man. It gets worse. If you only watch the first 5 minutes, it gets way worse. It's not good. I've only watched the first episode. I don't think I will continue to watch it unless someone tells me that there's a payoff at the end and you really have to suffer through it
Well,
to get to it. But which, to be fair, I think that's what the Weeknd said. He's like, I said, he's been pleading with people that just watch the whole show. Please don't judge it by the first couple of episodes. But it's really hard not to, man. I
Like,
have to
that
be honest
bad?
with you.
Yeah, I mean,
Your first
I'm scared.
episodes were really terrible.
All right.
At least the first episode.
well, that's why we got to wrap this show up so I can go watch it right now, guys. Come on.
Oh, that's
Okay.
true. That's true.
Yeah. All right.
How do we go from Demon Slayer to The Idol?
Well, I think it fits because we talk about the Weeknd so much.
Well, one of
It
those
does.
things kind of came to HHN and the other isn't. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, the Idol's not coming to HHN, man.
Oh God.
That's going to be the new.
Can you imagine?
It's going to be like the
Oh.
new repository. An additional paid experience. Just a guy that looks like Abel whispering very disgusting things in your ear.
putting sheets over your face and cutting holes in them. Like,
Also,
oh
apparently
god,
there's a shot where like they do like even like cum on face and everything. It's
Jesus.
oh
yeah.
Jesus. Okay, all
Mike,
right.
take us out.
All right. Yeah,
Oh.
that we crossed the line talking about
We
the
didn't
idol.
cross the line. We didn't film it. I'm just saying.
All right. Anyway, on that note, at Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at HHN365 and TikTok at HHN365pod. We have an amazing Discord. We won't be talking about the idol in it. The link is in the description. And merch is HHN365.com. And we'll see you in the streets.